Welcome to episode 6 of the Code Breakdown. I'm your host, Andrew DuPont.
And I'm Brian Miller. Today we're going to be continuing with our driving out the features that we worked on last time, the new user sign up. Looks like we've got these displayed right here. So shall we jump into it, Drew?
Sure, sounds great.
You want to drive out this first one?
Sure, I might as well. All right. Let's just run it and see where we're at. All right, so we get all the pre-generated step definition starters thanks to Cucumber. And if we jump over here, we can paste those in and set no paste. Go back here. Let's run those again. We should see it pending. We do. This first one is the default state anyway, so we don't care about that. Let's go back here, run that. All right, first step passes. We're on to when they visit the signup page. So visit and the signup page. You want to do users new?
Yep, I think that sounds good.
All right, so we do that. Run the test again. All right, no route matches users new. It's because our route file does not have a resources users with an only of new. If we go, whoops, I didn't want that. I want that, and I want to run that. Okay, now we're getting a different error. Uninitialized constant users controller. This tells us that the controller is not defined. So let's edit spec controllers, users controller underscore spec RB, require spec helper, and describe users controller do and run this, and we should get the same error. Uninitialized constant user controller, we do. And if we bounce over here, class users controller inherits application controller, run that, and we get that passing. Go back to the feature, and now it's complaining about action new. So let's drop back down to the spec. We need to define a new action. So describe get new, and it needs to render the new template for this controller. So get new response should render template new. Let's run that, and nothing because action new doesn't exist. Def new, and that fails because the new template does not exist. So let's add that. App views users new HTML herb and save that as empty. Run tests, and we have passing spec. Let's bounce back to the feature. All right. Okay, so we now have 2 steps passing in our scenario. We have the given the user does not exist. We have the when the visit the signup page. So now we're looking at correctly fill out and submit the signup form. You want to jump on that, Brian?
Sure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this new page right here, and I'm going to just go ahead and build the form. Even though this is going to throw a couple of errors that we're going to have to take care of just due to the fact that the app doesn't know anything about user at the moment. But
you want to start doing this before we see the failing Cuc test for this, or?
Oh, the failing, didn't you run that?
I did. Well, it's just a pending failure right now.
Oh, it's just a pending failure? Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. Oh, man, I jumped the gun, didn't I?
You did. It's all good.
All right, hang on. Let me
It would tell you either way.
It would, but it's much better to actually, we need to write that thing first. So, because it actually hasn't even been written yet. So
that's just going to be like a fill-in email?
Yep.
Do we want to do user scoped query parameters?
We actually probably should, especially since the fact that I'm using a
form 4 call?
A form 4, which is going to go ahead and scope all of those fields with something like user. So I should put user in the front here without the I because that really is.
Oh, come on.
I
Everything's got
know.
to be I.
Oh, it's
User.
very Apple centric right there.
That's right.
So this is user password
Confirmation.
confirmation because
Because,
so
we're secure
make
like
sure.
that.
Well, I just make sure that they actually enter the correct password, and then we're going to click a button that would be submit.
Cool.
And now let's go ahead and run that puppy.
All right, let me look at this error real quick. It's the model
Yep.
name for no class.
Yep, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Well, that's also, unfortunately, because I started working on this, it didn't really give us a true error message that it couldn't find any of the form fields, but it did instead error on this form 4, which I had already started working on. So not really the pure BDD process that we were hoping for, but still. So let's go ahead and finish with the form. And then we'll add our submit. All right, so let's go back and let's just run that one more time. I know it's going to show us the exact same error message, but at least,
Yep.
yeah, see the exact same thing. All right, so the problem is that this form that I just filled out does not have this user doesn't really exist. So we need to flip over to our user's controller spec, which I think is open in the buffer. And we need to, when we create this new, when we call new, we actually need to assign the user with a new user.
Yeah.
So that it can,
Is that so that it can get all the attributes from the model? Or,
yep.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, even though we don't have a user right now, I'm going to just go ahead and stub it out like it does exist. So we're going to stub new and return a mock a stub I have not actually created yet, which is called user. And then for that, I'm just going to create this thing. And then down here, I'm going to write my actual test. So I'm going to say that we're going to make sure that assign user should
Is it supposed to be
equal,
assigned?
it should be. So we'll run that, and it's going to barf and tell me that there's an uninitialized constant user, which means that we need to create a user spec. I mean, and really what we're going to have to do, because this is a model, is we're going to have to also do a migration. So what I think I might actually cheat a little bit.
You're gonna cheat?
A little bit. So
It doesn't know about constant user.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a generator.
Okay.
So I'm going to create this. I want to tell it I want an email for a string, and then since we're going to be using the Rails password authentication system, we need to do a password digest for that, and that is also a string. And using this generator is going to actually generate not only the model itself, but I don't want to. I just wrote that, but also create the migration for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at that migration that it generated and marvel at the automation. Oh, interesting.
Did it not? Is that correct? Wait. That's the cached version. Hold on.
Yeah, it's the cached version. I'm refreshing. There we go. So it went ahead and created a migration with all of our fields and actually threw the timestamps in there too for us. Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
It is. So I'm going to go ahead and run that migration. Let's see here, DB migrate. We'll go ahead and cover development.
Oh, what kind of failure did we get? Let's
I
see.
think
Oh, you have an idea already, or
I
you trying
do.
something?
No, I know what it is. So we need a reset.
Ah,
I think we had some cruft in there from some.
here, let me do
Some
it real quick. Wait. Okay, and let's do that for test too.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
All right. So let's go ahead and migrate. This will go ahead and add. Interesting.
No, we just did a reset, migrate.
Oh, so it went and did everything.
It did everything for us again, yeah, after it reset.
That's right. All right. So now let's do this again.
All right,
So spec says, "Yay!"
there
Got
is a
everything.
user.
There is a user. So now let's run this. All right. Now the assignment is not actually happening. This is failing as expected. So let's flip over here to our users controller. Go ahead and assign the user with a user new. And then we will go ahead and
It's passing.
get that to pass. Let's go back out to our feature. And let's see what this thing does.
Let's see.
Oh.
What is that?
I don't know.
User's path.
Oh, yeah. So we went when we created the routes, we put in a new, but we didn't put in a crate.
That is correct.
You want to jump on this, sir?
Sure. Why not? Let's jump to routes. We can just add a create here. If we go back to the feature file, run the test again, and now it's complaining that there's no create action, and this is on the user's controller. So if we go to user's controller spec, we can go down here. We can describe post to create. And this is now going to redirect to the home page, right? And post, create, redirect to response should redirect to root path, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Does that look correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's try to run that. And action create could not be found. Let's def create. It's going to complain because it's trying to render. We want it to redirect to root path.
That's right.
And undefined local variable or method root path. That is because our route file does not have a root set. Root to welcome controller index action.
So before we get too far along, we should probably get rid of that welcome to Rails index.html file, or this is gonna.
That is a good idea. So git remove public index HTML. All right, that's gone. So we're back here, and we are now back to this, and that passes because it now has root path.
Yep.
And we go back to our features file, run that. All right, now we're getting uninitialized constant welcome controller because it now has the root path, but the controller that matches that root path doesn't exist. So let's edit spec controllers, welcome controller spec RB, and we need to require our spec helper, of course, and describe welcome controller. And whoa, what did I just do? I don't know. Thank God for undo. Uninitialized constant welcome controller, and we need class welcome controller. Inherit from application controller. And we have those passing. let's jump back to our feature file. Run our features again. All right, the action index could not be found on the welcome controller. Back to our welcome controller spec. Describe a get to the index action. It should render the index template. Right?
Yep.
Response should render template index. All right, action index couldn't be found. Def index. Missing template welcome index. All right, app views welcome index HTML herb. Save as blank for now. Go back here, and that's passing back to the feature file. And all right, we're on to the next pending, which is then we should be taken to the home page. So this we have to define. Should be taken to the home page. We can do page.current path should equal root path, and that will verify that we are on that page, and we are. So that's working.
All right.
And they should see a success message. So we also have to define this. So they should see a success message. We can do what is it? Response?
No. Page
dot should have content.
Yep.
Content, and the content we want to see is successfully signed up. Bang. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's run that real quick. And expected to see that text, but it's getting empty. It's getting empty.
Which is correct, because
That does make sense.
that welcome page has nothing in it.
Yes. So we need to now write a spec inside of our users. Wait, this is the
Users controller.
This is the users controller, but we're expecting to see our result on the root path.
Well, yes,
so
it should, but I think that it would be better if we set a flash message. So we are going to want to have to
flash
test in the
success
user's
message.
controller that it gets set correctly.
Okay. So then we could do post create, and this can then do what am I thinking? I'm thinking controller dot flash success should equal successfully signed up. Bang. Right?
Yep.
All right. We got null because we're not actually doing that. And oops, I didn't want that. I do want this. And we can do this by actually using the flash option here with the success key here and the message successfully signed up. Bang. And I think that should work. It does. Let's run all these. All right, 4 of these passing. Bounce back to the features. Go run the feature again. All right. Now we expected to find text successfully signed up, but we still have empty. And now that we have the controller actually setting the flash message, we need to update the application HTML herb template to include the flash message somewhere, right?
Yep.
So let's just do if flash success dot present. Then let's just do the end. I like to write the container first for some reason. Let's just throw it in a div, I guess. This needs to be that flash success. Back to feature file. Boom.
All right.
All right, that's passing. So this next step, that we'd have to define, and they should see the logged in as status. That's going to actually require quite a bit more exploration.
So I think you're probably right, Joe. I think we should probably pause at this point and come back to that in another episode. So before we sign out, we should probably commit all of our changes to make sure that we get them saved.
Sounds like a good idea. You want to take on that?
Sure. So let's take a look and see what we did. We removed our public index. We modified the application layout, the routes, the schema, and we added a whole bunch of controllers and views. So let's go ahead and add all of our controllers. Let's add all of our model, or the model that we created. Let's add all of our views, and let's add all of our specs and all of our features, and of course our migration. And it's gonna barf at that. Git add db migrate. All right. So it looks like we've got all of that. So we'll go ahead and git commit.
I'm going to leave out the routes in the schema, or?
Oh, no. Go ahead and add that in. And then, of course, our changes to the schema. All right, let's go ahead and commit that. All right, what do? We added user sign up and user model for screen episode
6.
Episode 6. All right, let's go ahead and commit that.
Cool.
All right, looks good.
All right, man.
So next time, it looks like we're going to be tackling that the session stuff that goes with checking to see if a user is logged in, and also actually creating a user. So until then.